This video discusses fictional novels with disturbing themes including graphic violence, psychological abuse, body horror, assault, and other materials that some viewers may find upsetting. I will not show explicit content. Some words may be censored. This is an analysis, not a recommendation list.
Recently, I released the first part of the most disturbing visual novel, Icebergs. That part was uncomfortable, but most of those games still felt like stories first, nightmares second. This time, we are going lower. Much lower. The games in this part are not here because they have blood or shock scenes. That would be too easy. They're here because at some point, you stop asking, how bad can it get? And start asking a much worse question. Why did someone even make this? Level 3. Level 3 is the last place where I can still say, okay, this is messed up, but it still has a story. After this, that excuse starts falling apart. These visual novels still have plot, atmosphere, mystery, and actual structure behind the shock. You can talk about them as stories, you can analyze them without feeling like you're just reading a warning label, but they're also much crueler than anything from the previous part. And this is where the iceberg starts getting uncomfortable to even describe. Innocent Grey. Let's start with the works of Innocent Grey, Katagra, Kara no Shoujo, and Caucasus. Katagra begins like a grim post-war detective story. Tokyo in the 1950s, a former police detective, a missing woman from his past, streets that already feel broken before the murders even begin. The protagonist, Shugo Takashiro, is hired to investigate the disappearance of Yura Kozuki, his former lover. From there, the story pulls him into old family secrets, strange rituals, and murders that feel almost staged, like someone is arranging bodies to send a message. And then the bad endings hit. A room you should not have entered. A body left in a position that looks almost ceremonial. A detective losing the last piece of himself. Katagra is rough because it mixes detective fiction with scenes that feel too intimate in their cruelty. The violence is not always random, sometimes it feels like punishment. Sometimes it feels like obsession wearing a mask. Kara no Shoujo pushes that style further. It is disturbing because the case itself feels infected. The investigation is not clean. Every answer opens something older, uglier, and more personal. You are not watching a detective solve a murder from the outside. You are watching him dig through wounds that have never healed. Caucasus follows a similar route. An isolated mansion, a snowstorm, a bridge destroyed. People trapped together while an old curse sits in the background like a loaded gun. That is Innocent Grey's specialty. They take detective fiction and slowly drain the air out of it until the mystery feels suffocating. Beautiful art, elegant music, and then a corpse arranged like a nightmare. Kimi to Kanjo no Koi. Kimi to Kanjo no Koi, also known as Totono, is a psychological visual novel that takes the dating sim formula and turns it against the player. At first, it looks harmless. Almost too harmless. The protagonist, Shinichi Shizuki, lives a quiet school life until he gets pulled into a love triangle between two girls. Miyuki is popular, smart, and admired by almost everyone. Aoi is strange, detached, and talks like she's hearing a different version of reality. So far, normal dating sim setup. Then the player chooses, and the game starts punishing you for choosing. Both girls begin to understand that they are inside a game. The screen stops feeling safe. Saves stop feeling safe. Even the idea of restarting becomes part of the trap. It's easy to compare Totono to Doki Doki Literature Club, which I covered in the first part, but the two games attack the players in very different ways. DDLC tears through the surface of the game. Totono makes the player feel trapped inside the game, like every click has already been noticed. The cute art style becomes bait. The game corners you with loops, deleted progress, forced repetition, and choices that feel personal in a way that dating sims usually avoid. There is also cruelty, animal harm, assault, and scenes that hit much harder because they are buried under soft, romantic surfaces. One moment, you're looking at a normal school CG. Then, the game looks back. Gore Screaming Show. Gore Screaming Show is a classic visual novel from 2006 released by Black Psych. And yes, the title is not subtle. The story follows Kyoji Jino, a high school student who returns to his hometown and reconnects with 3 childhood friends, Akane, Aoi, and Kika. For a while, it almost acts like a normal romance setup. You spend time with the girls, you get closer to them, roots begin to form. Then Yuka appears. A strange girl with a dangerous obsession, always accompanied by a creature named Gore. The game lets you believe that you are in a dating sim for just long enough to make the collapse feel personal. That's the trick. The romance structure is bait. Every route gives the player a little comfort, then Yuka and Gore arrive and tear that comfort apart. The bad endings are harsh. Some scenes are better left implied, especially for YouTube. But the point is clear. This is a game where intimacy turns into a threat. A date, a quiet room, a girl smiling too calmly. Then the screen changes tone. Fast. Minikui Mojika no Ko. The next is Minikui Mojika no Ko, another visual novel from Nitro Plus. I'm still not fully sure if level 3 is the right place to put it. On one side, there is a censored version, which makes the experience slightly less extreme. On the other side, the story itself is a pit. The premise is uncomfortable before anything graphic even happens. The protagonist, Tsuteru Tanizaki, is treated as repulsively ugly as almost everyone around him. His classmates mock him, avoid him, and reduce his whole existence to his appearance. Then he gains a strange ability. If he looks closely at someone's face, he can see their true thoughts written out in front of him. At first, it sounds like power. It is not. It is a poison. He sees what people think when they smile. He sees the disgust under polite words. He sees the private cruelty people usually hide behind their faces. After one especially humiliating moment with the girl he likes, Tsuteru stops trying to survive school quietly. He starts using his ability for revenge. And that is where the story becomes hard to sit with. He does not just expose people, he studies their fears, their secrets, their shame, and their weak spots. Then he presses on them until they break. The graphic content is extreme, yes, but the uglier part is the transformation. At some point, Tsuteru stops looking like a victim and starts looking like a warning. A bullied kid standing in a classroom, a face too close to his, a sentence appearing where a human expression should be. That image alone says enough. Soukou Akki Muramasa. And since we are already talking about Nitro Plus, we have to mention Soukou Akki Muramasa. This one is different. Muramasa is a dark alternate history visual novel set in a version of Japan ruled by the Rukuhara Federation. The protagonist, Kageki Minato, is a cold, withdrawn man who uses a cursed armor named Muramasa to hunt down a mysterious silver-armored demon. The armor is powerful, too powerful, and it has one rule: the law of balance. For every enemy Kageki kills, he must kill one innocent person. No negotiation, no exception that saves the scene at the last second. The world demands a body on both sides of the scale. That is why Muramasa belongs here. There is blood, torture, mass execution, and assault, and the part that stays in your head is the moral trap. The story refuses to let violence become clean. Every heroic act leaves someone innocent on the floor. You defeat a monster, then the armor asks for payment. The horror is not that Kageki kills. The horror is that justice and punishment get chained together until even victory feels contaminated. That is a nasty idea, and it works. And that is where level 3 ends. That was the last layer where I could still say, yes, these games are disturbing, but they still tell stories. After this point, that excuse starts to fall apart. Because level 4 is where curiosity stops feeling harmless. Some of the next games are so extreme that even describing them becomes a problem. So for now, this is where we stop. Next time, we go lower.